City heading out to Dallas as the stretch run continues. Oscar Pareja visiting his old haunt, trying to pick up a win in the heart of Texas. It's 10-10, everybody, as we get you set for this week's big-time matchup. Let's put 10 minutes on the clock and get started. Number one, we got to go back to last weekend. And there's been this looming question around Orlando City. Can they hang with the best teams in MLS? They've been dominating people left and right for 3 months, but a lot of teams below the playoff line. Well, they got their shot in Columbus this weekend, and while they didn't pick up a result, they certainly proved that they belong. As we take a look at the highlights, Orlando were all over Columbus in the first half hour of this game. Facundo Torres nearly getting one past Patrick Schulte as he just dives on it on the goal line. Orlando City also hits the post twice in the first 15 minutes. Dagerdon Torhalson and Rodrigo Schlegel both confronting the woodwork. It would be 3 posts for Orlando City in the match. The only real chance Columbus had in the first half came through Diego Rossi, an unfortunate giveaway for Martin Ojeda, and this is what happens when you don't punish good teams when they make mistakes. Rossi scores on Pedro Galese, an unfortunate deflection as well. Just a lot of luck involved, but the Crew have had a lot of bounces go their way this year. Rossi's 6th career goal against Orlando. It was 1-0 at the break. First half of the second half was rough for the Lions. 2 quick goals for Columbus, one for Christian Ramirez, and then another later on for Cucho Hernandez, both on just outstanding balls into the box for Max Arfsten, who moved from left wing back to right wing back. What a weapon the Crew have on the outside with that young man. However, around the 73-74 minute mark, right when Orlando started that big comeback last year against the Crew, they came to life. Luis Muriel, the difference maker, as he puts the ball in for Ivan Angulo. There's that third post, but Ramiro Enrique this time there to put it in the back of the net. A little bit of life for Orlando. Moments later, ball into the box. Yaw gets a little excited, elbows Ivan Angulo in the back. That's a penalty kick. Luis Muriel steps up and scores his first goal for the Lions since June 22nd at when a penalty just rolled calmly in past Schulte, who goes the wrong way. Suddenly it's 3-2. A minute after that, crazy, chaotic play in the box. Looks like Orlando's going to tie the game. Ball comes off Nico Lodeiro's chest, hits Steven Moreira, and rolls just wide. How often are those an own goal? Would have tied the game. Alas, it was not meant to be. A few minutes later, Cucho Hernandez setting up the final goal of the game, taking the ball away from Orlando high up the field, feeding Aziel Jackson the easy finish. That made it 4-2 and basically killed off the Orlando comeback. Muriel would get a second goal right at the end of the game to add his 5th of the season and his 2nd brace. The other one coming back in May against Philadelphia. Not enough to get Orlando over the line, but if there's a such thing as moral victories, perhaps Orlando had one here, scoring 3 goals on the road against the best defense in MLS. And number 2, we got to talk about Lucho. Luis Muriel finally getting back on the score sheet. You know it's been a struggle for him this season since moving over from Atalanta. Oscar Pareja has talked a lot about his adaptation to the team, how difficult a challenge that has been for him. He's mentioned being surprised by the quality of Major League Soccer. Well, he dominated coming off the bench against the Columbus Crew. Pareja, after the game, asked about his DP, glowing in his review.
Well, it's a great news. What is happening with Luis. I have to highlight his professionalism and the way he's adapting to the rhythm of the league and the rhythm of the team. I think he's finding results already, and for us is what we're looking for. It's a great news to have him raising his level and being so productive for us. And then we hope that we continue with it because at this point we need him.
At number 3, the goals just keep flowing for Orlando City, don't they? 5 of them last week, including their 2-0 win over Charlotte at the midweek. Orlando City has scored multiple goals in each of its past 4 games. And in 11 of the past 13 MLS games it has played, going all the way back to June 19th. They were near the bottom of the Eastern Conference in goals for at that point. They're now in 5th, and at 50 goals, they're just 5 away from the club record for a single season set last year and in 2016 with 4 games to go. A big source of those goals, Facundo Torres. He's up to 16 on the year, also picked up his 9th assist, setting up Muriel's final goal against Columbus. Torres is on big milestone watch. His next goal will tie him with Kyle Larin for the club's all-time record of 44 goals in all competitions. His next assist will match him with Nani for the 2nd most helpers in Orlando City history as he cements himself as an all-time great in the City View. And number 5 is we're going to have to do every week from now on. We're going to check the standings. Orlando City did drop a point to the New York Red Bulls, who drew Atlanta United at home this weekend. Not a great result, though, for New York, and they're only 1 point ahead of Orlando in 4th. Remember, that top 4 position is going to host 2 of the 3 first-round games. A massive advantage, as was proven last year in the first year of the format. Orlando does have the tiebreaker over the Red Bulls due to having more wins. They're in good shape still as their schedule moves into its final 4 games. At number 6, it's a return to Dallas this weekend. Oscar Pareja's second visit there since becoming Orlando City head coach. With the proliferation of teams in the league, there are fewer and fewer games against the Western Conference each year. So this is the first time Orlando's been there since 2020, when the Lions took a red card in the second half, ended up grinding out a 0-0 draw. Oscar Pareja is a legend in Dallas. Played for the Burn and then FC Dallas over 8 seasons, then started his coaching career in their academy, left for 2 years to get some experience as the head coach of the Rapids, and then came back for 5 successful seasons as Dallas's head coach. 2 trophies, including a Supporters' Shield in 2016, as well as the U.S. Open Cup. 4 playoff appearances in 5 years, nearly 100 wins, and a return to Frisco, Texas for Oscar this weekend. At number 7, Orlando's probably pretty glad they've got Papi on their side now, because when he was the Dallas coach, it was not pretty for Orlando City against FC Dallas. Oscar's teams played 4 games against Orlando, shut him out every time, won 3 of them with a +8 goal difference. Since then, the series has been about even. They've only played a few times. Orlando's only win against Dallas came at Inter Co Stadium in 2019. That was a Tesho Akindele revenge game. He scored a goal against his former club. The last meeting came in 2022 back at Inter Co. That was a loss for Orlando, coming off a grueling 2-hour game in the Open Cup against Miami just 3 days prior. They dropped one 3-1 to Dallas. So looking for their first ever win in Frisco this weekend. At number 8, Dallas under Oscar was a fairly low-spending team intended to promote from within. Oscar's trademark development was on display, but recently they've been trying to splash the cash and keep up with the Joneses, as it were. They signed Peter Musa from Benfica for a reported $9.7 million this offseason. And while Dallas' season hasn't quite gone according to plan, they fired their coach in June. They're 5 points below the playoff line with 4 matches to go. Musa has been excellent, 15 goals in just over 2,000 MLS minutes. Another big-time DP striker for Robin Janssen and his fellow back line mates to keep an eye on this weekend. At number 9, we're going to introduce a new segment here on 10 and 10 because it is scoreboard watching season. We're looking at the top 4 rivals for Orlando City, games to watch on MLS Season Pass this upcoming Saturday night. And it's a good weekend for Orlando City to gain ground because somebody between the 2 New York teams is guaranteed to drop points. The Red Bulls are hosting NYCFC at Red Bull Arena in the Hudson River Derby. A draw is the best possible outcome for Orlando, but you probably want the Red Bulls to lose, as they're the team in front of Orlando, barring a tie. Meanwhile, Charlotte is down in Fort Lauderdale against Inter Miami. We'll see if Messi and company can do the Lions a favor for once and knock off Charlotte FC. And finally, at number 10, we gotta shout out Orlando City B, the Young Lions clinching an MLS Next playoff berth, continuing a similar run to the first team. They've been on just an absolute tear over the last couple of months. A 3-0 win over Chicago Fire 2 on Monday night wrapped up a playoff berth. And it's been first-teamers doing the damage. Shaq Muhammad, 11 goals on the year to lead the way. Alex Freeman, 7 goals and 9 assists from right back. Yutaro Sukata earning a first-team contract with his play, 7 goals on the season as well. Congrats to OCB and hopefully a long playoff run in front of the Young Lions this fall.
There is the final whistle. Orlando City B punches its ticket into the postseason with a regulation victory over Chicago Fire 2. 3-0 the final, and OCB are on a roll, 7-1-1 since the beginning of August. They will be riding into the postseason on a high for the second year in a row for OCB.
Let's go, 3 points. Dale, dale, dale.
All right, that does it for 10 and 10 this week. Orlando City's trip to Dallas airs live on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV at 8:30 p.m. Remember, Central Time. So an hour later, we'll have our kickoff -60 coverage beginning at 7:30 on the Lion Nation app and OrlandoCitySC.com. We'll talk to you then. Enjoy the game.